Unlock those wealth-building secrets. Don't miss this. Buckle up because we're diving deep into the crypto trends of 2024. We're talking about the potential for Bitcoin ETFs to shake up, like traditional finance,
Right.
AI integration that could reshape the internet itself, revolutionize everything from infrastructure to social media.
It's really fascinating how all these trends are kind of intertwined.
Yeah.
Like, think about it.
Right.
The SEC potentially approving a Bitcoin spot ETF
Right.
that could attract massive institutional investment.
Yeah.
Now, layer on the Bitcoin halving event happening in April,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got a recipe for some serious press volatility. For sure. And potential power shifts within the Bitcoin network.
Because let's break this down.
Yeah.
BlackRock and Fidelity.
Yeah.
These aren't small players, right?
No, not at all.
They're diving headfirst into Bitcoin ETFs.
Yeah.
Is this finally the moment Bitcoin goes mainstream?
It could be. It
Exactly.
could be a huge step toward wider adoption.
Right.
But it also makes you wonder if we're witnessing the institutionalization of Bitcoin. Remember, it was designed to bypass traditional financial systems.
Right.
Now, those very institutions are trying to get a piece of the pie.
It's true.
It's a bit ironic, wouldn't you say?
It is. It's almost like Bitcoin is being pulled in two opposite directions.
Yeah.
On one hand,
Right.
you have this push for decentralization for a financial system outside the control of banks and governments.
Right.
But on the other hand, you have Wall Street giants moving in,
Yeah,
potentially bringing their rules and their influence with them.
exactly. And the upcoming halving adds another layer of complexity.
Okay.
Every 4 years, the reward for mining new Bitcoin is cut in half.
Right.
This time it's happening in April 2024.
Gotcha.
So miners get fewer Bitcoins for the same amount of work.
And fewer Bitcoins usually means.
Higher prices, potentially.
Yeah.
Basic supply and demand.
Right.
This halving could also squeeze out smaller miners who can't keep up with the rising costs.
Yeah.
This might lead to even more mining power concentrated in the hands of institutions.
So while everyone's fixated on the potential for Bitcoin's price to skyrocket,
Yeah,
there's a whole other drama unfolding behind the scenes.
that's right.
A battle for control of the network itself.
Right.
It's like a high-stakes poker game
Uh-huh.
where the players are institutions, miners, and everyday investors.
And speaking of high stakes, let's talk about AI-powered crypto projects.
Okay.
This is where things get really interesting.
All right.
We're seeing tokens like Render, Fetch.ai, and the Graph trying to bridge the gap between blockchain and artificial intelligence.
Okay, I've seen the headlines.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I'm still a bit fuzzy on what that actually means.
Right.
What are these tokens actually doing?
Think of it this way. These projects are trying to create decentralized versions of things we already use. But with the added benefits of blockchain technology,
Okay.
take Render, for example.
Okay.
It's a decentralized network where users can share their GPU computing power.
Oh, okay.
This has huge potential for fields like AI and machine learning,
Okay.
which require massive amounts of processing power.
So instead of relying on centralized cloud providers like Amazon or Google,
Uh-huh.
you could tap into this global network of individual users.
Precisely.
Right.
And this could make this processing power much more accessible
Right.
and potentially more affordable,
Right.
especially for smaller developers who can't afford those big cloud computing contracts.
Right.
It's like democratizing access to supercomputing.
That's a powerful idea.
It is.
But realistically,
Yeah.
can these decentralized networks compete with the giants?
Right.
I mean, Amazon and Google have built massive, reliable infrastructures.
That's the big question, isn't it? And it's one we'll be exploring further as we look at specific projects.
Okay.
But even if these decentralized networks can't fully replace the giants,
Yeah,
they could offer a viable alternative,
I see.
especially for those who value privacy, security, and control over their data.
Okay, so we've got this potential clash between centralized and decentralized power playing out in the Bitcoin world
Right.
and in the realm of cloud computing.
Yeah.
It's a recurring theme, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
This tension between the old guard and the new disruptors.
It is. And it's a theme we see popping up again with DePIN,
Okay.
or decentralized physical infrastructure networks.
Okay.
We're talking about projects like Filecoin, Helium, and yes, even Render,
Okay.
aiming to revolutionize everything from cloud storage to internet access.
So instead of relying on Amazon for cloud storage,
Uh-huh.
you could be storing your data on a decentralized network of users all over the world.
That's right.
And instead of getting your internet from Comcast or Verizon,
Right.
you're tapping into a network of, what, individual hotspots.
That's the vision.
Okay.
And while it sounds incredibly futuristic,
Yeah.
it also raises a lot of practical questions.
Sure.
Can these decentralized networks really compete with the giants in terms of reliability and scalability? And what about security?
These are critical questions.
They are.
And I'm guessing the answers aren't so simple.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But that's what makes this so fascinating.
Yeah.
We're talking about potentially rebuilding the foundations of the internet.
Wow.
Shifting power away from centralized corporations and into the hands of individuals.
Wow.
It's a huge undertaking, and it's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
Well, you've definitely piqued my curiosity.
Good.
And I'm sure our listeners are eager to hear more about the specifics of these projects.
For sure.
But before we dive into that,
Okay.
there's one more trend we need to talk about. SocialFi.
Ah, yes. The Wild West of social media and decentralized finance. This is where platforms like Friend.tech and Lens Protocol are trying to rewrite the rules of content creation and monetization.
I have to admit, the idea of cutting out the middleman and earning directly from my content is very appealing.
Yeah.
But I also have a healthy dose of skepticism.
I understand.
What happens if the SocialFi platforms disappear overnight?
Right.
Who's responsible for governing them?
Good question.
And how are creators' digital assets and reputations protected?
Those are all valid concerns.
Yeah.
We're in uncharted territory here.
Oh,
the rules are still being written. But that's also what makes it so exciting.
Okay.
We're witnessing the birth of a new social media landscape.
Right.
One that has the potential to be more equitable, more transparent, and more empowering for creators.
Okay. So we've got Bitcoin potentially being pulled in two directions.
Yeah.
Toward institutional control and towards further decentralization.
Right.
We've got AI integration promising to revolutionize everything, but facing huge hurdles in terms of scalability and real-world application.
Right.
And we've got DePIN and SocialFi aiming to disrupt entire industries, but with big question marks hanging over their heads about trust, reliability, and regulation.
For sure.
Where do we even begin to unpack all of this?
Well, a good place to start is by taking a closer look at some of the specific projects and platforms driving these trends.
Okay.
That's what we'll be diving into in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
And for our listeners, if you want to stay ahead of the curve and make sure you don't miss out on any of these groundbreaking developments, be sure to subscribe to Money Case for weekly insights that will change how you think about money and wealth.
Right.
Join us for part 2, where we'll be exploring the projects and platforms shaping the future of crypto.
See you there. Welcome back to our deep dive into the crypto trends shaping 2024.
Last time we talked about the big picture,
Right.
Bitcoin ETFs, AI integration, DePIN, SocialFi.
All the exciting stuff.
Now let's zoom in on some specific projects and platforms making waves.
Sounds good.
Okay, a great place to start is with Render.
Yeah, Render's a good one.
This project has really caught the attention of many in the crypto world.
It has.
It's a decentralized network that allows users to share their GPU computing power,
Right.
which makes it a key player in the DePIN movement.
Yeah, exactly.
So instead of relying on big centralized cloud providers like Amazon or Google, you can tap into this network of users all over the world for processing power.
That's the idea.
Okay.
And that's a game changer for things like AI and machine learning,
Right.
which need massive amounts of computing power to function.
Yeah.
Render makes this power more accessible
Okay.
and potentially much cheaper, especially for smaller developers and startups who can't afford those big cloud computing contracts.
I see. It's like giving everyone access to a supercomputer.
Yeah, kind of.
Pretty amazing when you think about it.
It is.
But can a decentralized network like this really compete with the big guys when it comes to reliability?
Well,
Can it offer the same uptime and stability as Amazon or Google?
that's a question a lot of people have.
Yeah.
And it's something the Render team is working on constantly.
Okay.
They're always looking for ways to improve the network stability and redundancy.
Right.
And they've already shown some impressive performance in real-world applications.
Like what, for example?
Well, they've partnered with Octane Render,
Okay.
a major rendering software company, to offer decentralized rendering services.
Okay.
This means artists and animators can now use Render's network to create incredible visuals
Right.
without having to spend a fortune on expensive hardware.
Okay, now I'm seeing how this could actually work in the real world.
Yeah.
It's not just a cool idea, it's actually being used to solve real problems.
Right.
And speaking of real-world impact,
Okay.
let's talk about Filecoin, another DePIN project looking to shake things up in the cloud storage industry.
Filecoin is fascinating. Yeah.
because it takes a completely different approach to cloud storage.
Okay.
Instead of storing data in giant centralized data centers,
Right.
it uses a decentralized network of users who contribute their unused storage space.
So you're basically turning your spare hard drive space into something that can generate income.
Precisely.
That's pretty cool.
And this creates a storage system that's more resilient
Right.
and potentially more secure,
Okay.
since the data is spread out across many different nodes instead of being concentrated in one place.
It sounds like a more private way to store data, too,
Uh-huh.
since it's not sitting on some server controlled by a single company.
That's a big selling point for Filecoin.
Yeah.
It gives users more control over their data and how it's used,
Right.
which is a growing concern in a world where data privacy is becoming more important than ever.
We've got Render shaking things up in cloud computing.
Right.
And Filecoin disrupting the cloud storage industry.
Yeah.
What other DePIN projects are on your radar?
One that's worth mentioning is Helium.
They're tackling a big challenge.
Okay.
Decentralized internet access.
Helium is the project with those hotspots, right?
Yes. Helium allows people to set up hotspots,
Right.
which are like mini cell towers
Okay.
that offer wireless coverage.
So instead of relying on traditional telecom companies for internet, you could be using a network created by individual users.
And you can even earn rewards for contributing to the network.
Wow.
Helium has managed to create a huge network of hotspots that covers a surprisingly large area.
It's a smart approach, but I wonder about scalability.
Yeah.
Can a network of hotspots really provide the same coverage and reliability as a major cell network?
It's still early ways for Helium,
Okay.
and they definitely have challenges to overcome.
Right.
But they've already made a lot of progress,
Okay.
and they're getting a lot of attention from both users and investors.
Okay, let's shift gears for a minute and talk about some of those AI-powered crypto projects we mentioned earlier.
Sounds good.
One that I keep hearing about is the Graph.
The Graph is an interesting one. They call themselves the Google of blockchain,
Okay.
and they're doing some innovative work in data indexing.
So instead of having to manually go through tons of blockchain data,
Right.
developers can use the Graph to quickly and easily find the information they need.
It's basically a search engine for blockchain data,
Okay.
which makes it much easier to build and use decentralized applications.
That sounds incredibly useful.
It is.
But can they really handle all the complex data being generated on blockchains these days? Can they keep up with the volume?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
They're facing a real challenge when it comes to scalability,
Right.
but they're constantly working to improve their technology.
It will be interesting to see if they can reach their goals.
Yeah.
What other AI-powered projects should we be paying attention to?
Fetch.ai is another one that's gaining momentum.
Fetch.ai.
They're focused on creating a decentralized marketplace for AI agents.
Okay, I need a little help understanding that. What are AI agents?
Okay.
And what's the deal with a decentralized marketplace for them?
Think of AI agents as autonomous programs that can perform tasks for humans.
Okay.
They're like digital assistants on steroids.
Okay.
Fetch.ai imagines a world where these AI agents can interact and work together,
Right.
making the economy more efficient and intelligent.
So you could have AI agents negotiating contracts, managing supply chains, even giving personalized financial advice.
Exactly.
Wow.
And by building a decentralized marketplace for these agents,
Right.
Fetch.ai wants to make these services accessible to everyone.
It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
It does a bit, doesn't it?
But I guess that's what's so cool about this space.
Yeah.
What used to be science fiction is quickly becoming reality.
It's definitely an exciting time to be following crypto.
It is.
But like we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
it's important to look at these projects with a critical eye.
Right. Don't just buy into the hype.
Yeah.
We need to think about the potential downsides, the unanswered questions, and the regulations that are likely to come into play.
Absolutely. And that's what we'll be exploring in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll be looking at the risks and challenges associated with these emerging crypto trends.
It's a complex landscape out there,
It is.
and it's changing all the time.
All the time.
Stay with us for part 3, where we'll take a closer look at the potential risks and challenges
Okay.
and what they mean for the future of crypto. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the crypto trends defining 2024.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
From the potential impact of Bitcoin ETFs and the rise of AI-powered crypto to the emergence of DePIN networks and the promise of SocialFi platforms.
It's been a whirlwind tour of innovation.
It has.
But, as with any new technology,
Yeah.
there are always risks and challenges to consider.
Right.
What are some of the big ones that stand out to you?
One of the biggest hurdles across all these trends is regulation. Governments around the world are still figuring out how to approach crypto.
Right.
And this lack of clear guidelines creates a lot of uncertainty for both businesses and investors.
It's almost like trying to build a house without a blueprint.
Yeah.
You might have a vision, but without a solid framework,
Right.
things can get messy pretty quickly.
Exactly. And that regulatory uncertainty can stifle innovation
Right.
and make it hard for legitimate projects to thrive.
I see.
It also creates opportunities for bad actors to exploit the system.
We've already seen those cautionary tales play out in the DeFi space.
Yeah,
With scams and rug pulls making headlines.
unfortunately.
And as crypto grows, the potential for these types of activities to increase is a valid concern.
It is, and then there's the ever-present issue of security.
Right.
Decentralized systems, by their very nature,
Yeah.
are more distributed and potentially more vulnerable to attack.
We've seen hacks and exploits targeting both centralized exchanges and DeFi protocols.
It happens.
And as more value gets locked into these systems, those targets become even more attractive to attackers.
It highlights the need for developers to prioritize security from the ground up.
Right.
And for users to be extremely cautious.
Yeah.
Do your research, understand the risks, and never invest more than you can afford to lose.
Solid advice. Another challenge that I think often gets overlooked is the issue of sustainability.
You're right. Many crypto projects, especially those based on proof-of-work consensus mechanisms,
Right.
require a lot of energy to run.
And this has raised concerns about the environmental impact of crypto,
Sure.
leading to a push for more sustainable solutions.
There's definitely a growing movement toward eco-friendly crypto.
Okay.
Projects like Ethereum, which are transitioning to proof of stake, are paving the way for more energy-efficient alternatives.
Right.
And we're seeing innovation in green crypto mining aiming to reduce the carbon footprint of operations.
It's encouraging to see the industry recognizing the importance of sustainability. But let's be honest, one of the biggest challenges with crypto is simply keeping up with the pace of innovation.
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah.
The constant emergence of new projects and platforms is exciting,
Right.
but it can also be overwhelming.
It's like drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah.
How do you even begin to filter the signal from the noise?
It takes effort.
Yeah.
You need to stay informed, do your research,
Right.
and be prepared for the unexpected.
And remember that not every project is going to be a winner.
For sure.
There will be failures along the way.
Oh.
And it's crucial to approach crypto investing with a long-term perspective
Uh,
and a healthy dose of skepticism.
Absolutely. Now, shifting gears a bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about some of the potential social and ethical implications of these crypto trends.
Right.
One concern that's often raised is the potential for crypto to exacerbate existing inequalities.
It's a valid point.
Yeah.
If access to crypto and its benefits aren't distributed fairly,
Right.
it could create a new kind of digital divide.
We need to be mindful of these issues of accessibility and inclusion as the crypto ecosystem evolves.
Yeah.
And we can't ignore the potential for crypto to be used for illicit activities.
The pseudonymous nature of crypto transactions can make it attractive for criminals looking to launder money or evade taxes.
It's a reality we have to face.
Yeah.
And it underscores the need for regulators and law enforcement agencies to develop effective strategies for combating these illicit uses of crypto,
Right.
while also protecting the privacy and security of legitimate users.
It's a delicate balancing act, for sure. As we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
it's clear that the crypto space is at a crossroads.
It is.
We're seeing incredible innovation and potential, but also significant risks and challenges.
The decisions we make now will shape the future of this technology and
Yeah.
its impact on our world.
So as you continue exploring the world of crypto,
Yeah.
remember to consider not just the potential rewards,
Right.
but also the risks and the ethical implications.
Ask the tough questions, stay informed, and make your own informed decisions.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the crypto trends shaping 2024.
That's right.
It's been a fascinating conversation, and we hope you found it valuable.
If you're looking for more insights and analysis on the ever-changing world of crypto and finance, be sure to check out Money Case.
Right.
We release new episodes every week, so subscribe and stay ahead of the curve.
Thanks for joining us,
Yeah, thanks everyone.
and we'll see you next time.